boyfriend remembered his ex-wife's birthday and bought her an expensive tennis bracelet but forgot mine completely, so when I found the receipt I realized he had been planning this gift for weeks while I meant nothing. Hi, I'm Jessica, 28F, and my boyfriend is Tobias, 31M. We've been together for 2.5 years. He got divorced about 4 years ago from his ex-wife Kendra, 29F. They have a 7-year-old daughter named Gwen together. Tobias and I don't live together yet, but we've been talking about it seriously for the past 6 months. Let me give you some background about birthdays and our relationship. I've always made a huge deal about birthdays. It's just how I was raised. My mom would plan elaborate parties for me and my siblings every year. When Tobias had his 30th birthday last year, I threw him a surprise party at his favorite restaurant with all his friends. The year before that, I planned a weekend getaway to the mountains because he mentioned wanting to go hiking more. For his daughter Gwen's birthday in March, I helped him organize a princess-themed party at Chuck E. Cheese and spent my own money on decorations and party favors. So when my 28th birthday came around on October 15th, I had reasonable expectations. Not a huge party necessarily, but something thoughtful. A nice dinner, flowers, maybe a small gift. We had talked about my birthday the week before and he seemed excited to celebrate. The morning of my birthday, Tobias called me around 8 a.m. He sounded stressed and immediately started talking about work problems. His construction company had been dealing with delayed permits on a big project. He talked for 20 minutes about concrete suppliers and city inspectors. Not once did he mention my birthday. I kept waiting for him to say something, even just happy birthday, but he didn't. I spent the day at my office job getting birthday wishes from coworkers. My parents called from Florida where they retired last year. My sister sent me flowers. My best friend from college texted me funny memes all day. But nothing from Tobias. Around lunchtime, I checked my phone hoping for a text from him. Nothing. I called him around 2 p.m. and it went straight to voicemail. I figured he was busy at the job site. By 6 p.m., I was starting to worry something was wrong. I drove to his apartment after work. His truck was in the parking lot so I knew he was home. When I knocked, he answered the door in his work clothes looking exhausted. I asked if he wanted to grab dinner and he said he had already eaten a sandwich and just wanted to watch TV. He seemed completely normal, like it was any other day. I sat on his couch for 2 hours waiting for him to acknowledge what day it was. He watched some show about building houses and complained more about work. I went home around 9 p.m. I stopped at the grocery store and bought myself a chocolate cupcake from the bakery section. I ate it alone in my kitchen while scrolling through all the birthday messages from everyone except the one person who mattered most. The next day, Tobias texted me good morning like usual. Still no mention of my birthday. I waited 3 more days thinking maybe he had planned something for the weekend. On Friday, I finally asked him if he wanted to do something special this weekend. He suggested we could go see a movie. That's when I decided to drive over to his place on Saturday morning. I needed to talk to him about this. When I got there, I used my key to let myself in. He was in the shower. While I waited in his living room, I noticed a large white shopping bag on his kitchen counter. It had the logo of an expensive jewelry store downtown. My heart jumped. Maybe he had gotten me something after all and was waiting for the right moment. The bag wasn't hidden or anything. I walked over and peeked inside without touching anything. There was a small black velvet box and a receipt. I couldn't help myself. I looked at the receipt. It was dated October 16th, the day after my birthday. The item was listed as a white gold tennis bracelet. The price was $847. For a moment I got excited thinking this was for me. Then I saw the name on the special order form attached to the receipt. Kendra. I stood there staring at that receipt for probably 5 minutes. Tobias had spent almost $850 on a tennis bracelet for his ex-wife the day after completely forgetting my birthday. Not just forgetting, but acting completely normal about it. When Tobias came out of the bathroom, I was still standing by the kitchen counter. I asked him about the bag. He didn't seem bothered that I had seen it. He explained that it was Kendra's birthday next week and he wanted to get her something nice since she had been so good about letting him have extra time with Gwen lately. I asked him when Kendra's birthday was. October 23rd. 8 days after mine. I asked him if he knew what day it was last Tuesday. He looked confused and said Tuesday was the 15th. I asked him if he knew what was special about October 15th. He stared at me for a few seconds and then his face changed. He said oh no and put his hand on his forehead. He started apologizing immediately. He said he had been so stressed about work and planning this gift for Kendra that it completely slipped his mind. He kept saying he was sorry and that he would make it up to me. I asked him how he remembered Kendra's birthday but not mine. He said Kendra had texted him 2 weeks ago asking if he could take Gwen that weekend so she could go out for her birthday. That's when he decided to buy her the bracelet. The fact that his ex-wife had to remind him about her own birthday and that prompted him to buy an $850 gift, while my birthday came and went without even a happy birthday text, hit me like a truck. I asked him why he thought it was appropriate to spend that much money on his ex-wife. He said Kendra is Gwen's mother and he wants to maintain a good relationship with her for Gwen's sake. He said the bracelet was expensive but he had gotten overtime pay recently and wanted to do something thoughtful. I pointed out that he could have gotten Kendra a nice gift for much less money, maybe flowers or a gift card. He said the bracelet was something she had mentioned wanting a few months ago when he picked up Gwen. He remembered that conversation but couldn't remember my birthday. I asked him if he realized how this looked. His response was that I was making this into something it wasn't. He said his relationship with Kendra is purely about co-parenting and the gift doesn't mean anything romantic. I told him that wasn't the point. The point was that he had put more thought and money into his ex-wife's birthday than he had into mine. Actually, he had put zero thought into mine. He offered to take the bracelet back and buy me something instead. I asked him if he was serious. He said he just wanted to fix this and make me happy. I left his apartment without saying anything else. I was too upset to keep talking. He texted me later that day asking if we could talk. I didn't respond. He texted again the next day saying he wanted to make this right and asking if I was free for dinner. I told him I needed some time to think. It's been 3 weeks now. We've texted a few times but haven't seen each other. He keeps asking to meet up so we can work this out. Part of me wants to just move on from this, but I can't stop thinking about that receipt and how he remembered every detail of what Kendra wanted for her birthday while mine didn't even register. I talked to my sister about it and she thinks I'm overreacting. She said men are just bad with dates and I should give him another chance. My best friend thinks this is a huge red flag and that he's not over his ex-wife. I don't know what to think anymore. Am I being unreasonable? Is this something couples can come back from? I love Tobias and I thought we had a good relationship, but this has shaken my confidence in everything. Update 1. I never expected to be back here with an update, but something happened that changed everything. After my original post, Tobias and I had several long conversations. He seemed genuinely sorry and couldn't explain why he had such a mental block about my birthday. We decided to try to work through it. He took me out for an expensive dinner and bought me a necklace that cost more than Kendra's bracelet. It felt forced, but I appreciated the effort. Things were slowly getting back to normal. We were seeing each other regularly again and talking about moving in together after the new year. I was starting to think maybe my sister was right and I had overreacted. Last Friday, Gwen had a school play. Tobias invited me to come watch her perform. She was playing a tree in the kindergarten production of some environmental awareness play. It was actually pretty cute. After the play, we went to pick up Gwen's costume from her classroom. While Tobias talked to the teacher, I helped Gwen gather her things. She was excited and chatty about the play. Gwen started telling me about how her mom had helped her practice her lines every night. Then she said something that made me stop what I was doing. She said her mom had been extra happy lately because Daddy gave her the most beautiful bracelet for her birthday. Gwen said she got to help pick it out. I asked Gwen what she meant about helping pick it out. She said Daddy took her to the jewelry store and she got to look at all the sparkly bracelets while he talked to the man behind the counter. She said the man showed Daddy 3 different bracelets and Daddy asked her which one was the prettiest. Gwen said this happened on a Saturday morning about 2 months ago. She remembered because they went to get pancakes afterward. I realized this meant Tobias had taken Gwen bracelet shopping for Kendra weeks before my birthday. This wasn't a last-minute decision prompted by Kendra's text reminder. He had planned this gift well in advance. When we got back to Tobias's apartment, I asked Gwen to show me her new coloring books in her room while Daddy made us all some snacks. Once we were alone, I asked her more about the bracelet shopping trip. Gwen told me they had gone to 3 different stores before finding the right bracelet. She said Daddy told her it was important to find something really special for Mommy because she works so hard taking care of Gwen. Gwen also mentioned that Daddy had let her pick out a little charm to go with the bracelet. A heart with the letter E for Gwen. She was proud that her idea made the gift even more special. After Gwen's dad picked her up later that evening, I confronted Tobias about what she had told me. At first he tried to downplay it. He said taking Gwen along was just practical since he had her that weekend anyway. I asked him why he lied about the timeline. He had told me he decided to buy the bracelet after Kendra texted him about her birthday. But Gwen's story made it clear he had been planning this for weeks. Tobias got defensive and said he didn't lie, he just didn't remember exactly when he had bought it. He said the timing didn't matter anyway. I pointed out that he had put weeks of thought and effort into Kendra's gift, visiting multiple stores and involving their daughter in the selection process. Meanwhile, My birthday had completely slipped his mind. Tobias said I was twisting the situation. He explained that shopping with Gwen was a father-daughter bonding activity and I was making it sound like something inappropriate. I asked him if he could see how this looked from my perspective. He had spent weeks planning an elaborate gift for his ex-wife, but couldn't remember my birthday long enough to send a text. He said he understood why I was upset but insisted there was nothing romantic about the gift. He said he was just trying to be a good co-parent and maintain peace with Kendra. I asked him why maintaining peace required an $850 bracelet with a personalized charm. He could have gotten her a nice card or taken her out for a friendly lunch. Tobias said I was being jealous and unreasonable. He said Kendra is part of his life because of Gwen and I needed to accept that. I told him I wasn't asking him to cut Kendra out of his life. I was asking him to understand why it hurt that he put more effort into her birthday than mine. He said he would try to be more mindful of important dates going forward, but he couldn't change what had already happened. He asked if we could please move past this. I told him I needed more time to think. I've been staying at my place since then and we've only exchanged a few texts. I keep thinking about Gwen's innocent excitement when she told me about helping pick out the bracelet. The image of Tobias and his daughter shopping together for the perfect gift for Kendra while my birthday didn't even cross his mind is something I can't shake. I'm starting to wonder if my friend was right about Tobias not being over his ex-wife. The amount of thought and money he put into her gift, combined with lying about the timeline, suggests this might be about more than just co-parenting. I don't know where we go from here. Part of me wants to end things, but we've built a relationship over 2.5 years. Another part of me wonders if I'm sabotaging something good over a birthday. What would you do in this situation? Update 2. The situation has gotten much more complicated than I expected. I'm honestly not sure what to think about anything anymore. After my last update, I decided I needed to have one final conversation with Tobias to either work this out or end things cleanly. We met at a coffee shop near his work last Tuesday. I told him I had been thinking about everything and I needed complete honesty from him about his feelings for Kendra. I asked him directly if he still had romantic feelings for his ex-wife. Tobias got visibly uncomfortable. He said his feelings for Kendra were complicated because of their history and Gwen, but he insisted he wasn't in love with her anymore. He said he chose to be with me and that should be enough proof of his feelings. I asked him again about the bracelet and why he had lied about the timeline. He admitted he hadn't been completely honest because he knew it would upset me. He said he had been planning to get Kendra something nice for months, not just since her birthday reminder text. Then he told me something that completely blindsided me. He said Kendra had been going through a difficult time lately. Her father had been diagnosed with early-stage cancer in August and she had been struggling emotionally. Tobias said he wanted to do something special for her birthday to cheer her up during a hard period. I asked him why he hadn't mentioned this before. He said Kendra had asked him not to tell people about her father's diagnosis because she didn't want Gwen to worry or for it to become gossip among their mutual friends. This information made me see the bracelet situation in a different light. If Kendra was dealing with a family health crisis, I could understand Tobias wanting to be supportive. But it also raised new questions about their relationship and communication. I asked Tobias why Kendra felt comfortable confiding in him about something so personal if they were just co-parents. He said they had been married for 6 years and had remained friends after the divorce. He said it was natural that she would turn to him for support during a difficult time. I pointed out that he seemed to know intimate details about Kendra's emotional state and family situation, but had somehow forgotten my birthday completely. This seemed like a significant imbalance in his attention and care. Tobias said he could see how it looked bad, but insisted the situations were different. He said Kendra reached out to him for support, while I had never mentioned needing anything special for my birthday beyond our usual celebrations. I reminded him that I had literally planned elaborate celebrations for his birthdays and Gwen's birthday. I had clearly demonstrated that birthdays were important to me. He didn't need me to explicitly ask for basic acknowledgement on my own birthday. We talked for 2 hours without reaching any resolution. Tobias kept insisting that his actions were motivated by co-parenting responsibility and friendship, not romantic feelings. I kept pointing out that the level of emotional investment and financial expense suggested something deeper. Finally, I told him I needed to take a break from our relationship to figure out what I wanted. He looked upset but said he understood. We agreed to give each other space for a few weeks. That was when things took an unexpected turn. Yesterday, my friend Amy, who works at the same medical office as Kendra, called me. She said she had been debating whether to tell me something, but decided I deserved to know. Amy told me that Kendra's father doesn't have cancer. In fact, Kendra's father died in a car accident when she was 16. Amy has worked with Kendra for 3 years and has heard her mention being raised by her grandmother after her father's death. Amy said she didn't want to get involved in my relationship drama, but she couldn't let me be lied to about something so serious. I called Tobias immediately and confronted him about this. At first he was silent. Then he admitted that he had made up the story about Kendra's father being sick. I asked him why he would lie about something so awful. He said he was trying to make me understand why the bracelet was important without getting into the real reason. I asked him what the real reason was. He said Kendra had been having financial problems since her hours got cut at the medical office earlier this year. She had been stressed about money and he wanted to help her feel better. I asked him why he didn't just say that from the beginning. He said he knew it would make me uncomfortable to know he was spending money on Kendra because of her financial situation. I pointed out that lying about a cancer diagnosis was much worse than admitting he wanted to help his ex-wife financially. He agreed it was wrong but said he panicked when I pressed him for details. Now I'm dealing with the fact that Tobias not only prioritized his ex-wife's birthday over mine, but also lied to me multiple times about his motivations. The fake cancer story feels like such a betrayal of trust that I'm questioning everything he's ever told me. I told Tobias I couldn't continue the relationship. He begged me to reconsider and said he would do anything to fix this. He said the lies were stupid mistakes but his feelings for me were real. I asked him if he was financially supporting Kendra beyond the birthday gift. He admitted he had been helping her with some bills occasionally over the past few months. He said it was for Gwen's sake because if Kendra struggled financially, it would affect Gwen's stability. I asked him if he had been planning to tell me about this ongoing financial support. He said he hadn't thought about it because it wasn't a big deal to him. The fact that Tobias has been secretly supporting his ex-wife financially while we've been talking about moving in together and combining our lives feels like a massive betrayal. Not because I think he shouldn't help Gwen's mother, but because he kept it completely hidden from me. I told Tobias we were done. I haven't responded to his texts since then. He's been calling and messaging constantly, but I'm not ready to deal with any more revelations or lies. I feel like I never really knew him at all. The man I thought I was building a future with has been living a completely different reality than what he shared with me. Update 3. This will be my last update on this situation. I wanted to give everyone closure since so many people have followed this story and offered support. After I ended things with Tobias, I went completely no contact. I blocked his number and social media accounts. He tried reaching out through mutual friends, but I asked them not to pass along any messages. About 2 weeks after our breakup, my friend Amy, who had told me about Kendra's father, called me again. She said Kendra had been asking questions about why Tobias seemed upset lately and whether it had anything to do with me. Amy said she felt bad about potentially causing problems in my relationship, even though she knew I deserved the truth. She offered to talk to Kendra directly to get more information about the situation. I told Amy I appreciated her concern, but I was done trying to figure out Tobias and Kendra's relationship. Whatever was going on between them wasn't my problem anymore. However, Amy called me 3 days later with information I hadn't expected. She said Kendra had been completely shocked to learn that Tobias and I had broken up over the bracelet gift. According to Amy, Kendra thought the bracelet was inappropriate and had tried to return it to Tobias after her birthday. Amy said Kendra told her that Tobias had been acting strange for months, showing up at her apartment unannounced and offering to help with things she didn't need help with. Kendra had been uncomfortable with his increased attention but hadn't wanted to create conflict because of Gwen. Amy also said Kendra revealed that Tobias had been telling her that he and I were having problems and might break up soon. Kendra said she had been confused by this because whenever she saw me at Gwen's school events, I seemed happy and normal. This information painted a completely different picture of what had been happening. It sounded like Tobias had been pursuing Kendra while simultaneously maintaining our relationship. The financial support and expensive gifts weren't just co-parenting gestures, they were attempts to win her back. I decided I needed to hear this directly from Kendra. I reached out to her and asked if we could meet for coffee. She agreed immediately. Kendra and I had never spent time alone together before. Our interactions had always been brief and polite at Gwen's school functions or when I was at Tobias's apartment during his custody time. Kendra confirmed everything Amy had told me. She said Tobias had been pressuring her to let him spend more time at her apartment when he picked up or dropped off Gwen. He had been offering to fix things around her house and bringing her small gifts even when it wasn't a special occasion. Kendra said she had tried to maintain boundaries, but Tobias kept pushing. She said the expensive bracelet had made her so uncomfortable that she tried to give it back to him. When he refused to take it back, she put it in her jewelry box and never wore it. Most importantly, Kendra told me that Tobias had been telling her for months that our relationship was temporary. He had said I was just someone he was dating casually while he figured out what he really wanted. Kendra said she had never encouraged Tobias's behavior and had actually been hoping he would focus on his relationship with me so she could have clearer boundaries with him. She apologized for not reaching out to me sooner. She said she hadn't realized how serious Tobias and I were until Amy told her about our breakup. She thought if Tobias was telling her we weren't serious, then maybe we really weren't. Kendra also revealed that Tobias had asked her multiple times over the past year if she would consider getting back together for Gwen's sake. She had always said no, but he kept bringing it up. After talking to Kendra, I realized that Tobias had been living in two different realities. He had been maintaining our relationship while actively pursuing his ex-wife and lying to both of us about the other. I thanked Kendra for being honest with me. We agreed that Gwen shouldn't be affected by the adult drama, and Kendra said she would make sure Gwen knew that any problems between Tobias and me had nothing to do with her. Tobias tried one final time to contact me about a month ago. He sent a long email apologizing for everything and asking for another chance. He said he had realized he made terrible mistakes and wanted to prove he could be the partner I deserved. I didn't respond to his email. There was nothing left to say. I've been focusing on rebuilding my life without him. I moved to a new apartment closer to my job. I've been spending more time with friends and picked up some hobbies I had let slide during our relationship. The hardest part has been accepting that the relationship I thought I had never really existed. Tobias was never fully committed to building a future with me. He was using our relationship as a placeholder while he tried to reconstruct his marriage. I don't regret ending things. Finding out about his deception and manipulation was painful, but it saved me from wasting more years with someone who wasn't capable of being honest about his feelings and intentions. I miss some aspects of our relationship, especially the time I spent with Gwen. But I know I made the right choice. I deserve a partner who chooses me completely, not someone who keeps me around as a backup plan while chasing someone else. That's the end of this chapter for me. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support throughout this whole situation. It helped me trust my instincts when things felt wrong, even when I wanted to give Tobias the benefit of the doubt.